everybody. This is Jamerica with Jamerica Life. We're going to do something a little bit different. So today I came out and I started getting ready to replant some herbs. I was going to go live anyway, but I decided that this live needed to be a little bit different because the weather has been interesting to say the least. We need to figure out how we're going to get power to some of our equipment. Now, I found my laptop, right? And it was on zero. It was apparently on, and it ran on zero. So, well, we're gonna find a way to power this thing up without plugging it into the wall. I have solar panels and I have a small solar generator. I have had this thing for years. This is an EcoFlow. Now, all solar generators are different, right? They all have different amps and they have different wattage they have different amp requirements and they have different wattages. Now, this is about, I think this is 300. I've had this thing for a long time. It's all beat up. I think this is 300. This is the EcoFlow River. Any of them, get anything that you can afford, because times are getting really they're getting it's getting a little unstable. Let me turn this thing on. Just a moment. Turn this off. So I recommend that everyone or anyone go ahead and get a solar generator. So today I'm going to show you not only how to power this thing up, but how to keep it going without any electricity. So I plugged my laptop up to this solar generator, and currently this little laptop is running 36 watts. And on this thing, it'll tell you how many hours you can run this particular piece of equipment. The bigger the generator, or the bigger the amount of watts you have, the more you're going to be able to power. This can probably run the television for a short period of time, but man, it's not going to last very long. And if you want to do a refrigerator, well, I don't think this has enough kick power, could be wrong, to keep a refrigerator going. And if it keeps it going, it's not going to keep it going for very long, because this is a small one. So if you have big stuff, you need to get a bigger generator. So first things first, this is just the EcoFlow, and I'm gonna do overall for any type of solar generator that you might have. Now, you're gonna need this, right, in order to power your equipment. And you can plug this into the wall and keep it charged up, charged up for the short term. But for the long term, you're gonna have to learn how to hook it up to a solar panel. So right now, I told you it's running around 36, pulling 36 amps just to run this little laptop. So it can only run for 4 hours, but we're gonna get it longer than that. So we have the generator, right? And this is already plugged in. Man, this sun is out, which is good and bad because I can't see my screen. Hello, Mr. Matthews. How you doing? So what you're going to need is this. If you have more than one solar panel, you're going to need these, which can allows you to run your solar panels in parallel and series. I don't do series most of the time unless the amperage, it requires a high amperage. You got to be careful with running it in series, because you could burn up some of the older or cheaper solar generators. So I always run it in parallel, and this allows you to run it in parallel. But if you only have one panel, I'm gonna show you how to do it if you only have one panel or if you have multiple panels. So everybody's generator is gonna have different connections, right? You see that? Everybody's solar generator is going to be different. So I'm going to use this one, which is Power Earth Solar. It says solar/car input. See that right there? That's what I want to use. Now this one is overage protection. So this one does have overage protection on it, but some solar generators do not. So I purchased this in order to run it in parallel. You can also use these in order to run it in series, and we'll go over that in a minute. And I just bought these online. They're not that expensive. The most expensive thing you're going to spend is this, the solar generator. And then the panels, they're running right now. I bought my panels for about $60 on Amazon, and they're 100-watt panels. I'll show you one right now. Hello, Tina Johnson. How you doing? So I have this right here, right? And because I have one solar panel over here, I just propped it up. Y'all know that you know, y'all might think I'm bougie, but I'm not. I was raised in the ghetto. So I'll put it up on top of the fence, right? Right? Because the sun is coming through, right? And on the bottom of your solar panels, you're going to see these things, right? You need to buy a cord. Now, the longer the cord, the more you can run it out. Now, you're going to have you're going to lose some of the power that you input, but you're going to get some power. And you can run it further along. Now, this is a little short cord, right? So I can't go very far, which is why I propped this thing up here. So I'm gonna show you how to do it with one panel and multiple panels. So this is the one panel, which is the easiest part. It is very easy. Initially, I was afraid to do this, and I made some mistakes. I made some costly mistakes because I ran one of my generators in series, and the amperage was too high, and it was a cheap well, it was about $500 for that power generator, and I burnt it. So there's a male side and a female side, so you're going to run opposite. So I have the cord right here, right? So I'm just going to connect them. All right, you're going to hear it click, right? And you simply just take this cord, right, and get your solar power generator, right? Turn it to the other side. So some have, it used to be that you couldn't charge it you couldn't charge and discharge at the same time, which means you couldn't have anything plugged up at the same time as you power it, as you putting power to it. But they changed that. They fixed that. These things have gotten a lot better. So my solar panel is right there, facing the sun, right? And I plugged it in. Let's see if we're getting anything. Yep. I don't know if y'all can see that. It's 11 watts coming in right now. And the more the sunshine comes in, the more watts I'll get. So right now I'm not getting as much as I'm putting out. Now I'm gonna show you how to do it not in series, because I'll show you how to do it in series, but I don't do series anymore. I'm afraid of it. Even though this thing has an overage protector on it, I just don't show it. I'll show you how to do it in series, but I'm not plugging it up to my generator. You have to make sure you don't exceed the amperage, because you could burn up your generator if it's one of them least expensive ones. Now it's up to 22. Y'all see that? Let me see. Woo! One man show, I tell you. You see that? One is 22. Oh, it's going up. The more the sun shines, the more you're going to get in. So now I have 21 coming in and 36 going out. So say you wanna increase the amount. So I bought, excuse me, I didn't mean to go on my notes. I bought more than one solar panel. I own a couple of solar panels because I want to charge my stuff up like that. And the more wattage you can get in from the sun, the quicker you're going to be able to do this. So I'm going to show you how to run it in parallel. In order to do parallel, because you don't necessarily need it for series, right? You're going to need this. You're going to need these, right? So I'm going to unplug this on the solar panel side, right? I have to unplug it from the thing. So we're going to unplug this, right? So this is how we're going to run it in parallel. I have another solar panel over there, right? We'll take these apart. Right? And you take these, you get yourself another solar panel, right? You put this joker in the sun too. Let me see if I can find some way to prop this joker up. Put this in the sun too. Find something to prop it up. I'm gonna hurt myself. And you take this, and we're gonna do it the same way. So you take these two sides, right? And we're gonna connect this male side, so you can have two of them when they come in. They come as a set. You're gonna take the male to the female. You're gonna have one female on this side, right? Where is he at? I got the waterer just for him. See, they don't like me to be peaceful. I got the hose running just so I could spray them down because they make noise. Let me get a scissors. Okay. Then we're gonna take this panel right here. Get this thing apart. I think it was about $100 for two of them. So you see this female side? We're gonna take the second solar panel and we're gonna attach that right there, right? So the two became one. Now you have two more sides, right, that you have to do. So we're gonna take the other one that came with it and attach them. So 4 cords became 2 cords. I'm gonna find a way to get this thing to work. It's gonna work for me whether you want to or not. And I always put them at an angle so that they get some sun. So we have 2 right here. Then you take your extension cord, right? Remember the extension cord that we used last time? Your cables. And this is just going to allow you to extend the amount of space you have to get to your power station. So we're going to put those in just like we did with the one. Good morning. How you doing, Jessica Carter? Hello, Country Hustle. How you doing? So we're going to take this cord, right? And I don't know the technical terms of this stuff. Let me see what it says on the bag. It says Power Solar XT6. See, it don't do nothing. It don't say nothing. So we're going to take this, and just like we did with the one cord, we're going to go to our solar power generator, which might be in the house because you can run this from inside the house to outside the house. Panels will be outside, of course. And we just connected that. So the sun has just went down a little bit. It's going up. So now I have 27 coming in. Let me see if I can get you to see that. I have 27 coming in and I have 38 going out. Hello, that's my art. I didn't see it coming in. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to balance out or get more in than I have out. Because right now I'm at 86%. So I want my solar power my solar panels to take in more than the equipment is actually taking in. Now it all depends on the sun. There's nothing that I can't control the sun, but I can control the placement of the solar panels if I get a long enough cord. These cords can run about 100 feet and you can extend them. You just clip them together and run them all out in your yard. That's what I do. Once I get, I'm glad it didn't hit my chickens or me. Once I get these up, I don't take them down. I have some out in the yard. I could take you out there, but I might lose connection. Once I get them up, that's it. They're done. They are done. I'm not going to put that back up there because it might fall on somebody or on me, even worse. So I'm going to put them right here. Right here. This is what happens when you go live. Things happen and shoot, you can hurt yourself and everybody see it, huh? I'm glad that didn't cut me or something. So does anybody have any questions in reference to running it in parallel? Because that's the safer way. Unless you got one of them Blue Eddies, you're going to have to run it in series because Blue Eddies requires, I forget how many amps, but it's high. 100-watt solar panel and a Blue Eddy, the bigger ones, I forget, the 2,000-watt ones and above, unless they change something, you better have at least 200-watt solar panels, and the amperage it's the amperage that it has to be high. Otherwise, it's not going to charge. So if you see it not charging, that means you need to go ahead and try to run it in series. But be careful. Do not increase your amperage unless it has a overload protection where and I think the new ones do. How you doing, Urban Garden Chronicles? The new ones have an overload protection because the older ones, man, them jokers will burn up. And that's a lot of money. Initially, when these generators came out, they were super expensive. So for something like this, and I didn't spend this much money, they ran around $500. Now you could probably get them for about $200 to $300. This very same one. This is a River. Now, if you're not very strong, I recommend you get one of the smaller ones. But if you want to run your house, you got to get a big one, and you got to get a bunch of solar panels in order for this thing to power up your TV. I had a girlfriend who bought a smaller one. It was like a 100-watt generator, right? And I just told her to get it because to keep little lights on, like USB lights on. She thought it was going to power up her TV. I was like, no. You can't spend $100 on these little itty bitty generators and expect them to run that big old machine. You're going to have to get something bigger, and you're going to have to get more solar panels, and you're going to have to buy a longer cord in order to capture the sun or to capture enough sun. I think it's worth it. Just get what you can and start small, because don't be like me and spend $500 on a solar generator and have and connect it up in series, or do something silly like that and have that thing burn up, because that's what happened to me. That's exactly what happened to me. So though I just showed you how to run it in parallel, now let me show you how to run it in series. So I'm gonna unplug my thing, right? I'm just gonna show you how to run it in series, but I'm not gonna do it. So I'm unplugging this, right? I always unplug it before I start messing with these solar panels, because I don't want, even though this thing got a surge protector on it, I don't know. I just got leery after that happened. So running it in series, right? And you could run it in series indefinitely. You could run chain link these bad boys all the way across. I think that's how they do the solar panels that are on the houses. My neighbor has one on someone's house. You see that? I think that's how they do it. They daisy chain them. You could daisy chain them or run them in series. Same thing. That's what series means, daisy chain. So we're going to come down here, right? And I'm going to pull these up, right? And we're going to unconnect or disconnect these. Man, these things are hard to get apart. I ain't a man, y'all. I ain't trying to be a man. I'm just trying to survive, all right? Just trying to do what I do. You got to learn things. Even if you have a partner, a lot of people are losing their partners. They're getting sick, or what if you have to do it? You need to know how to do it. You know how to do basic things for yourself. So we're taking them apart, right? Where's this thing? And it takes a little bit to get them apart. As I said, and then I'm gonna take this off. What I'm doing is taking this connector off these. You don't need these if you're running them in series, unless you're running them in series and in parallel, which, you know, some people do. The more you know, the more you can do. But I started off, you know, trying to skip a step. It's crawl, walk, run, especially when you have a lot of money to lose. So in series, so this is our extension cord, right? That's what I'm calling it. Y'all know I'm a girl, right? Still a girl, but I'm trying to do what I do. And I was afraid initially, but I watched, initially I watched a couple of people. I watched a lot of videos, and the more I watched, the more comfortable I got with it, but I got a little bit too comfortable. So running them in series, you're gonna have the male and the female side, right, on both of them. In order to run it in series, you're gonna take one of the male and one of the female, clip them together, and these two are what you're gonna put into your extension cord, just like that, right? And then you plug that into your equipment. As I said, look at the back of your panel, and it'll tell you. It says on these, all of them are different, by the way. If you get it like you could get 200 watt panels, you get 300 watt panels. It says maximum power 100 watts, and maximum voltage is 18 volts. Okay, and then let me see, where's the amperage? Normal operating temp, no, that's not what I want. Short circuit, and it says 6.5, no. Maximum series fuse 15 amps. So you need to read that stuff and make sure that you don't increase the amp. You don't put in too much amperage in some of those that don't have a surge protector, because you burn it up and it won't work anymore. Okay, that's why I don't do it in series unless you dealing with one of them blue eddies. Then you got to do it in series, because it needs high amperage in order for it to work. So I'm gonna go ahead and do what I do. I'm gonna put it back in parallel, and then I'm gonna plug my thing back up. Let me get this off. Told you this ain't easy to get it off. Okay, so I have my 4 cords right here, right? I'm gonna put it back in parallel, and all parallel does is take the male to the male, the female to the female. So this one is the female to the male, and then this one is the female to the male. The two shall become one. The other one is just like a daisy chain, like a family putting their hands together. This one is like husband and wife. The two shall become one. That's the only way if you can remember it that way. I don't know if I'm confusing y'all more. So we made 2 into 2. We made 4 cords into 2. The male to the female to the male, right? Then you could go ahead and plug it back up to your extension cord that can run all the way across the yard, which is this. And usually these, I bought a cheap one. Usually these two are together. This is the one that you're gonna plug into your solar panel. Let me move it back so you can see what I'm talking about. So I have two females to one, excuse me, 2 males to 1 male, 2 females to 1 female. And then I'm just gonna take what I'm gonna plug into my solar generator. I'm gonna plug those in, right? Because you got to bring it down to 2 in order to run it to your generator, unless there's something out there that I don't know. Now there are generators that you can use. You can have 2 cords running to it. You have 2 sets, and all I'm gonna do is take the end of my cord, right? And usually I said I bought a cheap one, but it doesn't matter if they're separated or if they're together. It's the same thing. I just bought the least expensive one, and I think this one is about 10 feet. Not very long at all. You get them up to about, I think I have one that runs either 100 or 50 feet. I can't remember, because I have one that runs all the way out to the other side of those chairs out there where the sun, I get more sun. Well, I used to. And then you're just gonna take this right? And it doesn't have to be this type. This is just the type that is for the EcoFlow River and most of the EcoFlow products. So if you have a Blue Eddy, you're gonna need something different most likely. I don't know if they change it, but their connections are different. And there we are. Okay, so we got it plugged back up. Let me put those back in the sun so that they can get some kind of sunlight and draw something while we're talking. You know, I don't learn my lesson. I feel like putting it back up there because I was getting more of a charge with that thing there. I wish my turkey would move. I have one, no, I have a bunch of turkeys left, but I have one particular type of turkey left. Them jokers they don't stay alive long. You gotta be careful with them. You sneeze on them wrong and they pass away on you. Okay, so I have this one up, right? Any kind of bush or anything, you want to get that away from it. So if you have a bunch of trees, don't put it up on a tree and think you're going to charge it to, because it's not going to charge you. Get any kind of distraction or shade away from your solar panels. You want this joker to be in as much sun as possible. And just prop it up. You can buy ones with kickstands on it, or you can buy the stands for it. I didn't. I took some, you know, I'm a gardener, right? So I took some pots and stuck it up under mine so that they'd have a little kind of lift. Because in here where I live, it's clay soil. So if you can charge, or you can let them lay directly on the grass, but if they stay there for too long, they're gonna sink. You ain't gonna be able to get them out of the ground without destroying them. So I put flower pots under it to bring it to an angle. Or every now and then, ants will get under it. All kind of stuff, all kind of crazy stuff will happen. All kind of animals will start living under it. So you got to be careful where you put it. So let me see if I'm getting anything in now. So there's an input of 13. And I'm putting out 33. I'm getting something, not a lot, but I'm getting something, so I don't mind. It's better than nothing. All right, so today's video was not gonna be on this until I realized that this joker was dead. It was gone. There was no power. I had to plug it up. Hello, Judith Sylvester. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna have to hold it up here. Hello, D Nice. Hello, that's my art. So the reason why I thought about doing this is, first of all, this was this thing right here, this little laptop that I used to read the chat. Usually I can read it, but the screen got sun on it. It's because we had a tornado out here the day before yesterday, and they were like, you know, if you're told to evacuate. And I would have had to take this, because some stuff you can't lift. You want something mobile, something that you can carry around. Get your now everybody's talking about why you got your bags packed, why you have a go bag. My go bag is not for the end of all, you know, be all, the end of things as we know it. Mine is because we have these freaking weather events. That's what mine is for. And if they tell you to freaking leave, because I worked with a guy, he lived in Bastrop County, and if y'all ever heard of the Lost Pines fire, look it up. Texas not only floods, but it burns. And when it starts burning, all of us are praying, because there's a bunch of trees around here and there's a bunch of open land. There's less open land in the Austin area than there used to be, but we have had Texas catch on fire and take out acres and acres of land. And there was this one guy I worked with years ago, And we had a fire in Lost Pines. We couldn't even get insurance at that time. If you lived out in Bastrop County and you was trying to buy something, or anywhere in Austin trying to buy something, they wouldn't insure you because the fires were out of control. It just kept on burning and burning and burning. Well, there's one particular guy, they went to his house, right? Because a lot of us in Texas, we go out in the woods. We live out in the woods, or we go out in the woods, or we know somebody who lives out there. So they told him to evacuate. He went to the shelter, right? He took his girlfriend and his dog, and he forgot. He was an electrician. He forgot his tool belt. Do you know that man went back in there and he never came out? So if they tell you to leave, especially if there's fires, because I mean, look at all these trees around here. Especially if there's fire and there's brush around, like my neighbor has a lot of brush. If a fire catches out in his yard, it's gonna spread. Especially if they tell you to evacuate, you get your go bag, which you need to inspect, and I'll probably do a video on that soon, because I have a go bag. I have a go bag that like is in my truck. That is, if I break down, I won't get hungry, or I won't have to ask anybody for anything to drink, and I'll have something to try to keep me comfortable until I can get out of traffic or everything. But the other one, or if my car breaks down, good Lord Jesus, I have seen people on the highway in Texas, 100+ degree weather, sweltering hot, with no, just waiting on a tow truck or something. And in that instance, shoot it, in my opinion, I'd get up and leave that damn car. It's too hot. But that's what the one that's in the truck is for. The other one is if they tell you to evacuate. Now, the other night they were telling people in Wimberley, there was a tornado in Wimberley, which is really close to Austin. It's just west of San Marcos, or southwest of Austin. And man, they were telling people to evacuate, to go if you have a basement. Now, we don't have no basements in Texas. I don't know if y'all do. Well, in the Austin area, the water table is too high. So if they tell you, if they come and knock on your door, or if that siren, my phone went off. It says flood. I had a flood warning, but then I turned the thing on, and it was like they were telling about the area, and they were saying to evacuate or go to an interior room. So that is what that bag is for, because if the house is gone, well, I ain't gonna be able to come back here. That is what that is for. A lot of people make the mistake of thinking, now I know we were talking about solar power generators, but this goes with it. A lot of people make the mistake of thinking that if you have a go bag, that you're a nut. They think you're crazy. Until a tornado, a flood, or any of that stuff happens. Then those same people are probably going to ask you to borrow your stuff. Same people. I have a go bag, and the last time I looked in it was last year. So I need to go in there and check to see if anything is expired, because I have like Band-Aids, food, and I have water. Those three, and I don't have a lot of water in there, but I have a little bit. I have a bladder, a water bladder. So hopefully I have enough strength, and my friends, they usually come over here and say, hey, let's, they call me when things are bad. We need to go. You need me to come and get you. Usually when things are bad, you get an alert. But by the time you get that darn alert, it's too late. It's too late. Especially if it's a tornado. You can't go nowhere. But if you survive and you put your go bag close to you, because I recommend, they tell you not to leave the house if there's a tornado. They just show up. They tell you to go to the most interior part of your house, right? So when that happened, those are sirens, or my phone started going off, I grabbed this, I grabbed my laptop, I grabbed my go bag, and I grabbed, I call it a jerry can, which is a 5-gallon water container. And I had water in that room anyway. But, you never know what's going to happen. You never know. I don't think aliens are going to abduct me. That's not what that's for. I had a girlfriend who laughed at me, right? They live up in Dallas. And she was like, why are you doing all that stuff? What you need that stuff for? Girl, And she was talking, I think she was telling people that I was a nut until she and her husband was hiding in the bathroom because there was tornadoes touching down. Then she understood. So, and you know, when people go through stuff like that, they forget. Once the tornado warning or tornado watch, when there's actually one on the ground, stops, well, then they don't think about it no more. Just last year, Houston didn't have any power. A lot of people were running gas generators. Guess what? Gas was hard to come by, so was propane. If you don't have that stuff stocked up prior to a disaster happening, you ain't gonna get no gas. And if you don't have any gas, guess what? You can't go nowhere. And what really made me laugh was the people who had the EV. They were really in trouble because there was no electricity. Where you gonna go? Unless you have solar backup. Solar backup. And I'm not pushing this for anybody, but I just get a little one. You don't have to get the one. You have to get one this big. Just get something so that you don't fall down in the dark. You can get a little power pack and some USB lights, and at least get some. Or go out in your yard or buy some yard decorations, some of those solar yard lights, and put those in your house so that you don't fall down. Now, if you have food in the freezer, don't open the freezer. Don't open that joker. It's good for about 3 days, especially if it's full. If you open it, that's it. You done. So don't expect something like this to power your refrigerator. You're gonna have to get a bigger one. You're gonna have to get more solar panels in order to keep that joker charged up. But this is a start. And this is not, I mean, it's worth it. It's worth it to me. And I've had this thing for about, y'all could tell there's dirt and dust on here. I've had this thing, man, pre-lockdown. I had this. It's on an old one. It's still working though. It's still working. I had some bad companies, but that's not one of them. That was a good one. Tracy, good morning, Jamerica. I have a question about chickens. Do chickens require food and water at night? I'm getting ready to put my chicken. What? I'm getting ready to put out my chickens that are 6 weeks old. No, but make sure they're locked down because everything loves chickens. Chickens put themselves to bed at night. That's it. Well, and I've started leaving my chicken coop cracked at night because it's so hot here. Nighttime, them jokers. That's when, if you want to do anything with chickens, anything, like you want to catch somebody, because chickens, you don't, after a while, after they know where the coop is, where the home is, them jokers take their butts to bed. Now the little ones, you're gonna have to teach them where the coop is. What I normally do with chicks is I put a cage within the coop and I keep them in there for a week. You don't have to do that, but if you don't do that, you got to chase those jokers around the coop. Unless you have one of those tractor supply coops, you're good. But they don't know to go in, but they'll learn. Once the bad weather starts, them jokers start going in the coops. Chickens put themselves to bed, which is wonderful. Ducks don't do that though. Ducks, well, my duck started. Maybe my duck think he's a chicken now. They go home. Chickens come home to roost. You ever heard that expression? A lot of them sayings are true. The chickens coming home to roost. They go in their coop and they go to sleep until they start hearing the other birds sing. And if you have a rooster, that's when he'll start singing too. Doesn't necessarily, it could be dawn. That's when they get back up. Early in the morning. They're early risers. So yes, they go to bed at night. They put themselves to bed at night. But if you have little ones, you're going to have to show them where bed is. Because they ain't going to know. You'll find them in the middle of the yard. Jackie Creeks. Yes, I'm in Houston. That's why I want to learn about this. I was so afraid initially because I don't have money to waste. I do not have especially then I didn't have, well, I have less now because I retired. When you retire, you get half of what you used to make. People think you rich when you retire. No, you getting half of what you used to make. You poor. So I didn't have a lot of money, and I watched a couple of people. I forgot that it was a guy who wears gloves. I thought he was, and then there's another young guy who was homeless, who is now, I think he's a millionaire. He builds these jokers. He doesn't buy them. He builds his own. And I was gonna try to do that, but I haven't gotten to that point. So I got the plug and play. That's what he calls them. I got the plug and play, and it works for me. You know, some people build them. They build their own power generators. You don't have to do this. You go get a battery. I was watching a guy and his wife last night. What is the name of it? IAG Farms. He showed how you could do it with an inverter and a. He said he used a car battery, or he used a RV battery. Whatever you do, make sure you get some kind of power to your house without having to. And he ran it to a solar panel. So he ran a solar panel to his RV battery, and the battery to the inverter, and it powered they're redoing a little the little trailer, travel trailer that they used to live in. He showed how to do it. I was like, it's that simple. Now I think that might be, no, because them batteries are expensive. That might be. I'm a girl. I like plug and play. I got. Now this one might be more complicated than some people. If you want a real simple one, go and get a Jackery. But the only thing with Jackery is proprietary, which means it's not gonna have all the normal connections that most generators have. That's the only thing I don't like about Jackery. But Jackery, you could toss that. That joker is tough. It's like a tough box. That's what I have out in the woods, a Jackery. Because I know that thing could be bounced around, rained on, and it'll probably work. I don't know about this one. This one, I kept it in the house sheltered. It's been sheltered for about, how long have I had this thing? It's been about 6, 7 years, and it's still going strong. Still working. Other brands are not. So if you get an off-brand, yeah, it most likely it'll be cheaper. But check, now I'm not selling this brand. I'm not affiliated to any of these. But some of the well-knowns like Blue Eddy, this one, EcoFlow, Anchor, the bigger ones, at least you can get on the phone and talk to somebody, or they got some kind of support system where you can track them down. But with some of the newer ones, some of the ones that just came out, you ain't gonna be able to find nobody. Ain't gonna answer their phone most likely. We had a power outage last week, and my wife, who works from home, was able to power 2 computers and a router for 8 hours with her coworker, and her coworkers had to take off. That happened to me during the lockdown. We were having, because I worked in procurement, right, and we had openings where we had to deal with the public, and we had to go online and broadcast to everybody, right? Man, people couldn't even send an email out because they didn't have any way to power their internet. I had my little thing, and they were calling me talking about, can you do this for me, can you do that for me? And I was like, sure. But at that time I was like, I don't know how much longer I could keep this thing going. So you get more after a while, and don't get too many, don't go overboard. But I mean, even the thing even has a light on it, so if the power goes out, at least you could walk around with it. Now, I'm trying to turn it off. It has strobe light and all that stuff, distress light, and then it has a cigarette charger. So if you don't have any power, and you have a USB blanket, and I use this for the USB blanket, believe it or not, you could plug that in. It has the phone charger. It had all kind of phone chargers. Now this is the old one, so it might not have everything that the new ones have on it. Because I told you, I bought this during the pandemic when I was freaking out that everything was going awry. And I'm glad I did, because we did have power outages during that time. And I didn't want to go out in the street and have to get. I mean, I have a propane generator. I ain't going out there during a pandemic to go get no propane, because I didn't have any propane. And the propane that I did have, I was using for and this is when it's cold, because we have a little bit of cold here in Texas. I use the propane for my buddy heaters. I was like, either this or my buddy heaters, and I think that Left Farmer 73. I I watched him. I watched him also, and I think he's a. This is his brand right here. Initially, he was showing a bunch of brands. He was showing Blue Eddy. He was showing EcoFlow. He was showing, who else did he show? Jackery. But then he just veered towards this one, and I don't blame him. I mean, it's not a bad company, not. I told you this thing is old as Methuselah and still ticking. Shoot, it's like that reliable old truck that you have, or that reliable car that you have that you wish you didn't sell. That was a stick shift because you got tired of I'm talking about me. I got tired of my I had a Mazda 626 with a stick shift, right? And I got tired of shifting gears, especially in traffic. You got a downshift, and then you have to, you have to do more work with a stick shift. Man, I gave that car to my mom, who sold it to my cousin, and then I bought what did I buy after that car? I bought a automatic car. I'm not gonna tell you the kind of car because it sucked. That joke, every 6 months I was fixing it every 6 months, and I regretted. When your car break down and you don't have no other source of transportation, and you think, man, Old Faithful always cranked, always, and I got rid of her. So anyway, I don't know how I got on that. Let's see. Where was I? Yeah, I don't need his help though. I already know this stuff. I appreciate. I like him. I like Lead Farmer 73 because he puts out good information, and he gets your butt in gear. He might talk to you crazy sometimes, because I don't like the way he talks to people sometimes, but he's a good man. Sometimes you have to look past how what people say and look at what they do, because there's some people talk real sweet to you, but they won't teach you a darn thing. They won't tell you nothing. They're tight-lipped with it, and they probably know. They could know, and they will not tell you how to do it. Will not. Then there's people like my grandmother. That's who he remind me of. They'll tell your butt off. Tell you off. But if you need help, they will help you. They'll help you. Now you need to know how, if you know something, you need to pass on information. That's what I try to do, because there's a lot of us women in general. Who is that? Sylviard, how you doing? Sylviard Garden Adventure. There's a lot of women out there, and I'm one of them, that I was afraid. I was afraid of this. I was afraid to do it. Finally, I watched enough videos with the guy with the glove. What is his name? And then the other guy, and then Lead Farmer. What was the guy with the glove? He had a cat too. He's still on there. But he knows his stuff, and he does reviews, and the reviews that he gives out, they're on point. There's 3 of them that I watch. There was another one too, but I can't remember their name. But Lead Farmer, of course, is a great resource for solar, especially when we were in lockdown. It gave people, we were all afraid, all of us, whether you want to say it or not. Some people got PTSD behind that. They don't leave the house to this day. Now I never liked leaving the house. I went to work and came home. That's just how I was raised, though. That's just me. But because the electricity and this weather is unbelievable, it's not getting better. It's not getting better. So you have to do what you can do. And if you have a tornado, you're probably gonna lose some of this stuff. You're gonna lose a lot of this stuff, but at least you tried. At least you tried. Let me see. Tracy, people say he's crazy too until their power goes out. They said I was crazy. I was canning food during the lockdown, and they were like, girl, they talked about me. I could tell that she had said something to, because I have a church, right? And I could tell that she had said something to the church members. And I was like, this girl, I ain't gonna call her name. Did this girl go and talk about me? Talk about, she this and she that. Now this is the same one lives in an apartment. She can't. How she gonna? If you live in an apartment, you're gonna have to go out to a park. You have to go out to a park and charge your stuff. I do not like apartment buildings. That would be, man, that would be one of my last choices. If I was homeless, yeah. If I didn't have any other choice, I would go to an apartment building or to a condo. And if I had an apartment, at least I would want a balcony. I need some access to the outside. That's just me. Some people, I have a cousin just loves to live in an apartment building. Man, I don't be around all them folks. You got to go through the hallway in order to get out of that joker and be exposed to whoever was in that hallway. No. A lot of my coworkers in the city, because I live outside of the city, in the city, they were in condos, and them jokers, man, by the end of the pandemic, they had sold their condo and moved to a house. They didn't want to deal with them condos. They were afraid for their children and their wife. Let's see. Garden is great. Hi, Jamerica. Unable to chat back. What? Unable to chat back. Sewing. Making curtains. Okay. Well, thank you for being here. Let's see. Does anybody have anything that I missed? If I missed you, I'm sorry. So we've been on here for a little while, and I could talk forever about solar panels because I'm charging as I'm going. I'm charging as I'm going. See that? It's not much, but it's better than nothing. And once I put this in the sun, I'll get more in than I'm putting out. It's just because it's in that position. That's 200 watts right there. Run in parallel. Let me see. We live on 2.5 acres, and I've tried talking to my neighbors, and they tried coming to us when the power and water went out because we have wells. No power means no water. And if you get water, you better not drink it. You better purify your water, because if this area does not have any electricity, guess what? Most likely the water power plant is not filtering the water correctly unless they have solar backup. I don't trust it. Last time we had a freeze out here, they put out a water advisory, and by the time you get the water advisory, guess what? Just like when the food is bad, you don't get it till people start getting sick. You done already drank it for like 2-3 weeks, and then you find out the water ain't no good. So I know that a lot of people in Texas, when we know that there's weather coming, and anybody who lives in Texas know what we do. If any bad weather comes, they're going to wipe out the stores. There ain't going to be no food. There ain't going to be no water, especially water. Especially bottled water be gone. So go ahead and get yourself some water jugs. And the thing with the water jugs is, if you get the clear container water jugs, you cannot leave them or expose them to any sunlight. That's why I get the jerry cans, which are opaque. The sun cannot go through. The sun cannot bleed through the container, because if water is exposed to light, you're gonna get that algae growing, and that's not good for you. Another thing is, boil your water. Even if you get it out of a jerry can or a water containment system, either filter it or boil it, or both. I recommend you do both. Boil it and filter it, because you don't know. You never know. Let's see. Miss J.K. Gardner. Hey, Jamerica. The solar information is so important. The weather is all over the country is unpredictable. Better to improve your family's survival chances. Start now. It's not just survival. It's, man, have you ever been... I just got over a virus that I caught out there at HEB, which is our supermarket, or somewhere in between. You don't want to be sick. And the worst thing to have when you are, displaced and your house is a mess, because this house flooded before. This very same house. I was homeless, basically homeless from what I can say, for about 2 months. The worst thing you can do is not have your stuff together and not know where to find your things. That's why you have a go bag, so at least you have some things that you could just grab and go. But man, that doesn't mean you're gonna be able to get it. But at least you have a plan, you have a foundation. Other people, they don't have nothing. The power goes out, and or disaster strikes, or a tornado comes through, a flood, or a fire, because that happens in Texas a lot, believe it or not. Fires. That's what I'm worried about. Fires. I'm not too worried about flood because I'm a hill country. That's what they call the Austin area. No, not too worried about floods, although it can happen. Y'all see what happened out there in North Carolina, Tennessee last year. They were in the hills. But I don't worry about that as much as I worry about them darn fires. When fires start popping up, and I'm like, is somebody lighting these chokers? We have out in Bastrop. The reason why it burned, and it burned so long, is because they have a lot of pine trees out there. Pine trees are not matchsticks, and you won't know that those jokers are on fire because they burn on the inside initially, and then it spreads. And then if you have underbrush, which I need to go and take care of out in the country, that stuff just wicks. It's nothing but a wick. It wicks up the fire and brings it to your house. Let's see. That's my art says, same in Georgia. Tracy, people don't garden and want you to give them your harvest. I had to stop that. Yeah, my neighbor is a gardener though. I think that one over there is a gardener. Man, he has about a half an acre. But I mean, he has a half an acre that's nothing but weeds. It's about waist high right now. I keep looking over there and I'm like, man, I wish I could just tell him I'll buy his land. I'll buy some of his land, just cut it off. I don't know if they allow me to do that, but then I have to pay more taxes. Land value will go up. But he don't take care of it. He don't even cut it. And I'm like, man, there's a whole bunch of them over there and they don't do nothing with it. I guess people might say the same thing about me out in the country. But I got chickens out there, so I'm doing something with it. But I have a neighbor over here is a gardener. She's a gardener. I don't think they're not, they can't be gardeners because they got two huge trees. And if you have huge trees, it's gonna be hard for you to get any. His whole backyard is covered with shade. I don't even think he has grass back there because after a while, them big trees just take over and nothing will grow except the tree. So I have who has asked me for my stuff? A couple of people. But I give people what I want to give them. If I want to give you something, I'll give it to you. But some people, I just don't like them. I tell them I don't have nothing. And then they see me on YouTube. That liar. See me on YouTube pulling something up. Southern Girl City Gardener. Where did you get your solar generator? Amazon. You get them from Amazon. You get them from Walmart. Or if you want to go out and about, you go to a big box store and get it. Every now and then you'll see it at Costco's, you'll see it at Sam's. I've seen them at Tractor Supply. I've seen them at what's that other store that I go to? I see them all over the place. And usually at hardware stores, they're gonna be in there. You're gonna see it at a hardware store. But most of the time you go online and you go to the shop part of your series, like your Google, or Google it. Shoot, man, I don't mean to say Google it, but if you go to the shop tab and you type in solar generators, man, they'll pop up. There's a million of them out there, but some of them I don't vouch for. Some of them not old, some of them cheap, unknown ones. The unknown ones, I'm always skeptical about it. But they all got to start out somewhere because Blue Ready didn't start until the pandemic. I heard about that from the white glove guy. Oh, what is his name? What is his name? I could hear him echoing in my mind, but I can't hear his name. He's got white hair, glasses, gloves, and a professor coat on, and a cat. He had a cat. He had a girlfriend for a little while, but I don't know what happened to her. She left. Tracy, with all the recalls going, you better grow your own on your own land. You have to have land though to grow on. And even if you don't have land, I shouldn't say that. There's a caveat. Because I told you one of my friends is living in an apartment. I told her, girl, grow some tree collars and put some grow lights on it. If you got an extra bedroom, get some grow lights. Not even grow lights, because I don't use grow lights. I use shop lights because they're cheaper and they work. And people were amazed. So I'm like, how are you growing your seedlings with those shop lights? Look at the lumens. Look at the lumens. Try to find one, I think 500 or above. I'm going to have to get him. Try to get one 500 or above, and you're good to go. You just get shop lights and grow them in the house. Now, people, you get a bunch of grow lights. People going to think you growing something besides food. In some states, it's legal, though. Some states, it's legal. Let me get this joke a reminder. Y'all might think I turned the water off. Man, he's walking away because he know. Chickens are smarter than you think they are. So I was out here today and I was gonna go ahead and start doing some of my herbs, but man, my laptop wasn't charged. So I was like, well, I gotta do this anyway, so I might as well get on it. If you have any questions in reference to solar, I'm not the authority on it. I'm just a person, a jack of all trades, because I have to be, or I want to be. I don't believe if there's something I can do to make myself more comfortable in a temporary situation, because hopefully it's temporary. I think Houston, man, they didn't have power. Some of them didn't have power for a month. Yeah, it was bad out there. And it was hot. I said, Lord have mercy. At least get a fan, a USB fan. I'm scared to buy fruit and veggies from the store. So am I. Tracy, I bought some fruit from the store the other day. I definitely ain't buying no tomatoes because I got a million tomatoes out there. And my cucumbers did not come in yet. But I ain't buying no cucumbers from the supermarket. Nope. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. A lot of us are afraid. And you know, as I said, you don't hear about the recalls until somebody got sick. That's when you hear about it. At least with bad weather, when you hear about the bad weather, well, sometimes the weatherman will give you a forewarning. But they don't know how bad it's gonna be. Sometimes they say it's gonna be worse than it actually is, and sometimes they think it's gonna be less than, or it just pops up out of nowhere, like what happened to Wimberley the day before yesterday or something like that. They didn't know that stuff was gonna happen. Did not know. And our winds were so bad. I have a thing where I had to cut off a branch because we had 70-mile plus 70 miles an hour winds that came out here and whipped across the whole Central Texas. I don't know if it made it to the people who are on the east side of Texas, but it definitely got us in Central Texas. Bad. It sounded like a freight train. So I can't get to him. There you go. Wet his butt down. That's the only way I can get even with him. I think it's because he's hot. Usually I go out there and I go in there and spray him real good. I don't want him annoying me or my neighbors. He gotta go back out to the country. He's getting on my last nerve. He gonna go out there to where they're not suffering, but they're living on the they're living on the edge out there. There's all kinds of stuff out there. I was out there feeding them the other day. This big old snake slithered away. I said, man, I gotta start carrying my machete out here because I don't want to have to, pow them, because I believe that's a waste of ammo. But I'll take a machete to it. For sure, for sure. That joker was huge. That joker was at least 6 foot long. I don't know what kind of snake it was, but I saw it slithering up the hill as I was feeding them. There's a couple of them missing too, the little ones, so it might have ate some of them. They might have went through the fence. You don't do that in the Wild West. Not out there. Not in them. Not in that brush. Anyway. So yeah, a lot of us are afraid to or aware of what's happening in the grocery stores. And even if there's not a recall, all kind of people are touching them things. Picking up stuff and putting it down. Picking it up, putting it down. You don't know how many hands have been on there. Or what I don't like is this is why I stopped buying cucumbers from the supermarket. They got that greasy, nasty feel on. You ever touched the cucumber and it felt like it had some kind of Vaseline on it? Oh my God, I can't do it. I remember one time I wanted some cucumber salad so bad that I said, well, I'll skin it. Now, not only am I afraid to ingest it, but you know a lot of that stuff go through your skins. You touch it, and this is the biggest organ on your body, your skin, and it absorbs stuff. You don't know what you touching and who else touched it and what they had. But you got to survive. You got to eat, right? So I bought the cucumbers, and man, I came home and I washed that joker with salt and not salt, baking soda. I would scrub that joker and then I peeled it. They say the peel is good for you, but not when it's greasy like that. I was like, what is on here? Things ain't what they used to be. There was a recall on cucumbers. I heard about it, and tomatoes, and eggs. It's like, God. I said, what? Let me tell you what I think. This is my opinion, and I've said this before. I think that they're spreading manure out there as a fertilizer, because that's what we do, and that is organic. That's their organic way to do things, right? They're spreading compost out there that is not completely broken down. And when they water the stuff, the manure, or the droppings or whatever, because that's what it is usually, pops back up onto the produce. That's probably what's happening. And then when they put whatever they put on top of it, it just seals that joker in. Because the washing process doesn't wash off all of that stuff. If I take chicken manure, right, and I don't do this. If I go into my pen, because a lot of people are saying, hey, just fertilize. Now I'm talking about they fertilize your garden with the chicken manure. All kind of bacteria is in that stuff. And if it is not properly broken down, and if any of that E. coli, salmonella, all that stuff, and I'm not a doctor, is still alive in that stuff, and I go out there and I put it in my garden and water it, and the water and hit it too hard, and you ever seen dirt that pops back up on your garden? That's how I think that's happening. The fertilizer is popping back up on the vegetables, and that's how they get in that stuff. That's the only explanation I come up with. And some of them are fertilizing with human waste. That's fertilizer too. They're taking sewage and composting the sewage. I know they're doing that. They do that in Austin. They compost the sewage, but if it's not broken down properly, well, that's getting up on your food too. Sometimes. Not all the time. I don't mean to go get there. All of that from solar panels. So, solar panels, just to keep your lights on and to keep yourself comfortable, get a USB fan. They're about 40 bucks, but if you are in a hot place like down south, down here, where it gets 100 plus degrees, at least when you're perspiring, you can have some wind that blows on you and cools you down. Otherwise, you just gonna, man, you might as well get a kiddie pool, and that's an option too, and just lay in it and pray. This joker, it gets so hot out here in Texas. I love Texas, but What is this? It gave me some kind of offer. So this is Jamerica. I'm not gonna keep on talking about different things because things are not great, but things are not bad either. We're sitting out here. You hear me listen to the cicadas. You hear them? They're here. The cicadas and the birds. Um, and I'm not in any danger. At least I don't think I am. And I got a lot. We have a lot to be we have a lot to be grateful for. Little things are gonna happen in life. Sometimes you're gonna eat something. You're gonna go out to eat, and you're probably gonna get sick. Every now and then, hopefully it's less than 1% of your life that happens. Sometimes some people have bad luck with that stuff. Me, I've had stuff like dysentery, and you don't want that. You don't want none of that. Or you don't want to catch something. But if it's not what you want, it's what's in the cards for you. We can do what we want to do, but you can't lock yourself into your house or into your property and not deal with anybody ever. You have to go out, and when you go out, you get exposed to different things. Whether you eat it, breathe it, or touch it, you're going to be exposed to it. We have our own little eco thing going on with our, each person has their own little ecosystem going on. So there's really nothing you can do about it because you want to have a fruitful and balanced life. So you take your chances and you live your life like nothing's going to happen. I mean, what did they say? Um, it's about saving. It says spend like you're gonna die tomorrow, but save like you're gonna live forever. You gotta find a balance in your life. Weigh things. Everybody's different. Some people enjoy being in their house or in on their property like I do. I go out, but it's not my thing to go out and run the streets. I did that enough when I was a young lady. I ain't interested in that. That stuff feel more like work to me. It does. I like gardening and I do things that I like to do, and I like to talk to people who like to do the things that I like to do because I find it interesting. You always find something new out when you listen to like-minded people. So, what's going on in there? They got their own little thing going out there. I think she's egg bound. I'm gonna have to stick her in some Epsom salt. So I want to thank everybody for being with me. I've been on long enough. I hope you learned something. There's two ways to put solar panels together. Either you could use one solar panel or you could use two solar panels, on and on and on. And there's two ways to connect them, in parallel and in series. This is Jamerica with Jamerica Life. I thank everybody for being with me, and I'll see you on the next one. All right, y'all take care. Bye.